Hello, everybody. Sorry we are behind schedule. We are a couple of minutes late, well, more than a couple, actually, I say. We are trying to get some logistics straight, so I apologize for that. Hello. It is Wednesday here on What You Need to Know, and just getting in off of a flight from Atlanta and hanging out with an incredible group of people, the Black Voters Matter Fund and blackvotersmatterfund.org. That's what you need to know. And for more information, I am getting myself in coming back to me. What the hell, Stephen Hill? Really? blackvotersmatterfund.org for more information. And let us go and welcome our very special guest. Hello, Cliff Albright, co-founder of Black Voters Matter. How are you?
I'm doing great. Just a little bit sad and lonely since you left us the other day, but we enjoyed the couple of days that you were with us.
Well, it was a lot of fun, and I learned a lot, and it took me back to some old times, Myra, with being with Tom and talking about that party with a purpose and all that we were involved in for so many years. And it was great to be back with folks that are not only concerned about our future, but also they just love Black folks, and they love, the positivity and the good things that are going on in our communities, and especially this first week of early voting. And now here we are, the day 3, and so it was a lot of fun, and we'll talk about that as we go through. So Myra J is with us, Cliff Albright, as I have introduced him, and I'm not sure what this is, but hello, Stephen Hill.
It's cold here. It's cold here in New York. It's cold here in New York. I just came from skiing down Fifth Avenue.
In your apartment?
No, skiing down Fifth Avenue.
In your apartment?
Just in time. What, in my apartment is it snowing? Trust me, if I don't pay a certain bill, it might snow in here really soon.
Okay. So yes, the winter of our discontent continues, and now a major storm is headed your way, right?
Oh no, it's in our way. No, it's here. That's.
Oh, it's there.
Real.
Okay.
Oh no, and it started usually in snowstorms, kind of like 5 or 6 hours. There's about a couple. Let me be an inch on the ground already after like an hour and a half. So, this is a major storm.
All right.
A winter storm warning, as they call it here. In the east.
Winter storm warning, and not just a watch, huh?
Oh, see, now you're gonna get me lying. Which one's the one where it's gonna?
You usually know that stuff.
Like you should watch out for it. I think it's a watch, right? The watch is the worst one. The one where you it's gonna come. So
it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, it's here now.
All right. So Cliff and Myra, when I left town, it was raining and cold there in the Georgia area. What about where you are, Cliff?
Yeah, well, we are in Albany, Georgia, down in Southwest Georgia today, and yes, it was raining. We did a caravan in the rain, and we actually started our big toy giveaway and food giveaway, and it started off raining, but the rain couldn't keep us away. We had cars wrapped around the church parking lot, snaking through streets. In fact, the police had to come and close off streets because there were so many cars lined up. So the rain couldn't stop us. It couldn't stop folks from coming out. We just had to layer up and put on a couple of hoodies today. But it was an amazing today. Just 500 toys, 400 holiday food bags, complete with a hen and collards and macaroni and cheese and dressing and all that. Everything you could want for your holiday meal, we had it in a bag today. 400 families benefited from that today. Amazing day in Albany.
Oh, what a blessing. Wow. And I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Cliff, but I believe that's Albany, Georgia.
Yes.
Albany.
All the time.
That's right. Yeah. Well, whatever we call it, it was a good time. And as you mentioned earlier, it was a party with a purpose, because we weren't just, giving out the food and the toys, but the location where we were doing was literally right across the street from the early voting location, from the Civic Center where they're doing early voting. And so then over the first 2 days, they've had record turnout. They said they had 2,000 voters in Dougherty County. That was more than the first 2 days of early vote for the general election. You don't see that in a runoff election,
That's right?
And when you add on top of that during the general, the first day of early voting was huge because it was actually a holiday. And so you had a lot of people that were off work on that first day of early vote for the general election. So those were already record numbers in this county, in Dougherty County. They've exceeded those numbers that we saw in the general election. Black folks in this state are just showing out, y'all.
That is so awesome.
Great.
For folks who don't know, this broadcast is brought to you by Black Voters Matter. And Myra, you had a question?
No. Go ahead.
I was going to ask Cliff, just to give people a bit of a background about Black Voters Matter and how you and Latasha, because it also, Myra, you may remember us meeting Latasha and Cliff, what was it, about 15 years ago, Cliff?
Yeah, 2002, actually.
And so tell us, because you were running Latasha's campaign at that time.
Yeah, so Latasha and so Black Voters Matter is a relatively young organization. We started on paper in 2016, and our first really big campaign was 2017. So really only about 3 years old, but the work that we've been doing together, Latasha, I, my wife, April, we met in Selma, Alabama back in '98, and we've been doing electoral work as well as other racial justice work since that time. You name the issue, we've organized around it. Housing, police violence. Heck, we were dealing with Confederate monuments and trying to tear them down at least a decade and a half before the rest of the country really caught on to that movement. And so, but in the heart of it was always our electoral work. So in the year 2002, we actually had Latasha run for office for a state house seat. And that was the year that you all came to Selma to do one of the Sky shows. Yeah. And we were insistent, we were intent, we were determined that one way or another, we were going to get to the front of the stage and get one of her campaign shirts in you all's hands. And sure enough, we were able to do it. We actually threw it up on stage. J. Anthony caught it. And he held it up and he looked at the shirt because I had a picture of Latasha on it. So he looked at the shirt and he looked back at Latasha and he pointed at her like, "This you?" So it was mission accomplished. And that was just a real memory. We were just so glad that y'all were able to come to Selma, because a lot of times when y'all came to Alabama, it would be Mobile or Birmingham. That was a huge moment for us. So we really appreciate y'all.
Well, we appreciate you guys and for bringing that memory back to us, because Cliff, you get to a point where we were doing this. We were doing what, Myra, 35 Sky shows a year at one point, and so it's great to have those memories come back to us. And but really impressed with the work you guys are doing, and as you mentioned, starting in 2016 for Black Voters Matter, but also the incredible work that as you started up through that time, and at 2016 and 2017, the Alabama Senate election, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. 2017 was that race between Doug Jones and Roy Moore. Many people remember Roy Moore was on top of being a racist and a sexist and homophobic and so many other things, was also an accused pedophile. And, but even with all of that, people were still saying that there's no way a Democratic candidate could win. It was a special election. It was a December election. People didn't think it was cold in Alabama. There was no way that Black folks were going to come back out. It actually rained for part of that day. And in spite of all of that, we were able to mobilize. We and several other organizations were able to mobilize Black voters all across the state, in particular in the Black Belt of Alabama. And that was the untold story of that election, was that it couldn't just happen in Birmingham and Mobile and Montgomery. It had to include the Black Belt. It had to include the rural counties. It had to include those counties which so often they're so under-resourced. They don't get campaign materials. They don't get a big bus, a campaign bus coming in their community. And so we put the money right in the hands of local organizations that we had known over the decades of work that we did all across the state. We put the money in their hands and said, look, y'all go on and do what you do best. And we'll provide some stuff for you, some tools. We'll get y'all some collateral, some Black Voters Matter shirts and hoodies and signs and create some excitement. But fundamentally, it was about recognizing that in order for Black voters to matter, the organizations that serve us every day, that work with us and organize us every day, those organizations have got to be resourced. And that's why we started Black Voters Matter Fund. We wanted to be able to answer the question that we had always asked all those years that we were in a rural county in Selma, Dallas County, we would always ask, what could we get done if we had the resources? What could we get done if we had $1 million, or forget $1 million, even $10,000 sometimes to run a campaign? That's why we created this organization, so that we could go all across this country, in states that are often neglected, in counties that are often neglected, just like Dougherty County, where I'm sitting right now, and put resources in the hands of folks who know how to get the work done if they just are valued and receive some support.
You guys have been tremendous in this effort, and if you see the front page of What You Need to Know newsletter today, you'll see me there standing next to our sister Latasha Brown and talking. And as I talked about my opportunity to join you guys for 3 days on the road, and I can't thank you enough, Cliff, for the sponsorship and the support you've given us as we are still in the process, in the baby stages of creating and building the What You Need to Know newsletter. And we really thank you. And as we have talked about, you and Latasha and I have talked about, our desire really is, and as we tell people every day, is to continue the work that we started with Tom Joyner, and that is to super serve the African American community and to continue to do the work. And so we appreciate your helping us as we are still getting to our feet and building here. So thank you so much. And thank you you have an incredible group of young people of all ages, I should say, but a really spirited group of people who are all about the business of super serving, of empowering, and making people their own organization, their own organizers within themselves.
Yeah, I mean, that's our philosophy. You know, we want everybody we touch, we try to turn them into an organizer. Everybody that comes and picks up some food or a toy donation, everybody that sends a text to the message and the number that's on our bus, everybody that we come across in the streets, whether it's in a neighborhood or maybe it's a shopping center parking lot, which actually we went to today. No matter who it is that we touch, we want to turn them into an organizer. We want to give them the tools that they need in order to reach out and touch 5 friends or touch 10 friends. We want them to be able to get the graphics that they need. We want them to have the website and the voter guides that they need. If everybody just reaches out and touches 5 other folks, then we always say there's not an election in this state, in this country, that we can't win. That's what we try to do. And we try to do it by centering Black love, Black joy, Black culture, right? You mentioned the party with the purpose. You all were always about, and even now with what you're doing on your show, it's really about, centering Black love and centering Black joy and Black culture, whether that's our musical culture, our humor, our faith culture. Like if culture's not in our work, one of the things we always say is that you show me strategy that's absent of culture, and I'll show you a losing strategy, right? Because culture will eat strategy for breakfast. Right.
Yeah.
We have got to include culture in all the work that we do. That's why that's why every time we come off the bus, we come off the James Brown, right? I'm Black and I'm proud. And people celebrate that, right? We want power building to be fun. We want it to be something that everybody wants to be a part of, that everybody wants to get on a train or get on the bus. Everybody wants to be included, because when you're having a good time and you're feeling like you matter and you're centering your culture and joy, everybody who doesn't want to be a part of that? And then when you can be a part of that and actually win some stuff and win some power, right? That's even better, right? You mean I get to have joy, culture, and win? Like, it doesn't get any better than that. And so that's the approach that we try to take.
Well, you're doing a heck of a job, and folks feel it. I got to tell you that there are moments that have happened over this weekend that I'm never going to forget, like having the big speaker just on your lap as you are, Cliff had the microphone and Latasha was handling the music, or vice versa, or one person doing both jobs and yelling to folks through the microphone, come on out. We're gonna be here at the Harriet Tubman Museum. Come on, and we're gonna have great music and food, and don't forget about early voting begins on Monday, and that message throughout neighborhood after neighborhood after neighborhood going through. It was great. It was great stuff. So I do want to encourage people to go to your to text in. It's 797979.
Yep. We matter. One word. We matter to that number 797979.
we matter, and get involved in this, because this is, as we've been telling people all through 2020 up till the general election, this is the election of our lifetimes. And now folks in Georgia have an opportunity to not only create history for the state, for the country, but really within your own communities, you're going to be doing a lot of good by getting out there and voting. Absolutely. Now, Cliff, can you stick with us?
Gladly.
Okay, good. Because we're going to talk news stories. And I also want to find out if you have completed your song assignment.
Okay. We'll talk about that.
Okay. All right. So you guys, you know where I have been. And Myra and Steve want to also talk about the fact that, Myra, you are in Georgia. Have you early voted?
I have not, but hold on. I have my absentee ballot. See, what had happened was,
Myra, your volume is very low for me. I don't know why, or maybe it's just me.
okay, then I'll speak up. Is this better? A little bit?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I live in Cobb County. So if you heard about Cobb County, yeah, we had 11 polling places for the presidential election. That's dropped down to 5. Now they added 2, and just so happened, so some of the ones that were eliminated where I had planned to vote. So
Gotcha.
I'm kind of okay, but now they're doing this thing of checking the signatures, because now they're saying that Cobb County was the county that didn't do the signature match for the presidential election.
Gotcha.
So I had to absentee vote, but I got a little nervous because sometimes I sign my name with my middle initial. It's just right. It's just an automatic thing. So I was trying to triple check to see, how am I registered? Is it first, last name, or first name, middle initial, last name? So that's why I have not dropped my absentee ballot off yet, because I wanted to check it. And Stephen Hill is making me feel really bad, because today I said, I ain't going out there. It's 39 degrees and raining. So, so I do plan to vote, and I really think I may go in person just to be on the safe side, because now that they're really looking at Cobb County, and they said that they will be making sure that they double check it for this election. And to piggyback on what you were saying, Cliff, yes, the numbers are high, but I'm asking all voters, don't sleep on this. One of the reasons that the numbers are high is because I got 2, what do you call them, soliciting phone calls today from Republicans saying, don't sleep on this. The Democrats are going out. Go out and vote early, vote absentee, mail it in. I got 2 phone calls today. I don't know how they got my number. Everybody in my family, because if you do, you will not come to the family reunion. I got 2 phone calls today. So the other side is going out and early voting in higher numbers than they did for the presidential election.
And that's really interesting in terms of the turnout, because they were the whole question about the fake election numbers or the fake results and all of that kind of stuff too. So listen to Myra, who is out there. She's not out there because she's staying out of the rain, but definitely as one who is a Georgia voter. And a lot of people, I mean, big numbers on Monday and Tuesday, as far as I knew, Cliff, right?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, where I would have gone to early vote, because my location isn't open yet on on Monday, the wait was over 2 hours to get in to vote. So my location is still really, really packed, which is a good thing. People are coming out.
And Cliff, when we were in Augusta on Monday, we were there at a polling place, and the people came out and said, "You have to move within 100 feet. You have to move outside of 100 feet." And Cliff is, carrying the boom box and encouraging folks to come on in and place their votes and do the election thing. And as Frankie Beverly and James Brown were playing, and these white people are kind of walking around going, "What the hell?" And just
That's right. Yeah, I mean, we trying to entertain and encourage folks that are out there waiting on lines. We're trying to do the polling clerks a favor, right? You got people on long lines, and you don't want them being upset or just uncomfortable. So we're out there having a good time, and you can tell that people are into it, and then they come out telling us that we need to leave. Not because the music was too loud, which it may have been, but not because the music was too loud, right? Because all they got to do is say turn it down. And
turn your music down, right?
Right. But they say, no, you're campaigning. And what that shows is, and we've had that happen to us in other cities and counties as well, where people see a Black Voters Matter shirt and they think that that's a political statement, or they think that's campaigning. And, it's not about being in favor of any one candidate. In fact, the back of our shirts say it's about us, because we're always saying it's not about the candidates. We're not about one candidate or any one election cycle. We're about us. We're about our issues. So, so we're just out there trying to keep folks encouraged, and they asked us to move, but that was all right because we took the party right around the corner anyway and still had a good time.
At James Brown Plaza.
Exactly, right. And on a day when we were celebrating the memory and the legacy of John Lewis, because the name of the event was the John Lewis Good Trouble Votercade. So in his honor, we were out there trying to have some good trouble, with some good music. In James Brown's home, playing some James Brown. It's bad when you get kicked away from the polling place in James Brown's hometown as you're playing James Brown. How does that happen?
Okay. And Cliff is talking the whole time. Okay, well, we're gonna move, but we just trying to do we're just trying to do right by the voters. We're just trying to get everybody. So I got to tell you that we're not new to the election game, and as a matter of fact, Cliff, Stephen Hill was one of those who had early voted in the city of New York, and then took his efforts to his family's home state of Ohio to do some work, right, Steve?
Indeed, where they actually, part of the training was Black Lives Matter T-shirts could be worn, right? While candidates T-shirts could not be worn, they were very clear that no, Black Lives Matter, as long as it doesn't promote a certain candidate, could be worn. So I people are still having challenges with that. They were having in November. I'm sure they will going forward.
Yeah. So, go ahead, Cliff. I'm sorry.
It actually got really bad. In fact, right where I am now in Dougherty County, it got really bad. Where in the general, some of our workers and partners wearing those shirts were giving out water and food and sanitizer and masks, and a Trump supporting white woman basically, got mad, tried to get them moved, tried to get us arrested. And then when none of that worked, at some point, she actually pulled out a gun and then posted all these posts to these hate groups that she was a part of, saying how, this mob of people were surrounding her with bottles of water, right? But that these mobs of people were surrounding her, and she was so threatened and all of this, and how proud her little hate group would have been because she stood her ground and pulled out her, like she was bragging about the fact that she basically committed assault by pulling out a weapon on these folks that were just out there trying to, again, keep voters comforted. And so these are the types of things that we face.
I mean,
what'd you say, Myra?
What did she think, that they were going to wet her
hair? Right. Attack her with the water, right? No, it's just insane. But again, people see that shirt, they see this hoodie, they see these hats, they see that bus, and they lose their minds. It really, brings out the worst of the voter suppression. And the worst of the racism sometimes. And those are the kinds of things that we face. But what we found is that when we show courage and continue to stay focused, that then gives our community even more courage. We've been in a lot of places we're community members that say we helped give them courage. In fact, we were in Louisville. Y'all might remember in Kentucky during the primaries
Yeah.
when they had that one polling place to serve all of
Yeah.
Louisville, where the state's the vast majority of the state's Black population live. Y'all may remember that they closed the polling place
Sure did.
even as people were coming into. Now you gotta keep in mind this was a huge mega polling place. It was like a stadium,
It's like a
right?
convention center or something, wasn't it? On the level of that, right?
It would take people 20 minutes to walk from the back of the parking lot just to get to the doors. And so many people, not to mention the 15, 20, 30-minute wait that people had just to get into the gates of the facility. So there were people that were actually on site for half an hour, 45 minutes trying to get to the doors when the official closed the doors to the polling place.
Right.
They said if you're not actually inside the doors, then you weren't there on time, and they closed the doors even though there were people literally trying to run across the parking lot. Latasha and I were there for that. We were in Kentucky on that day, and we saw the looks of people standing around like bewildered, like wondering, well, what do I do now? And
Right.
literally, I started a chant saying, open the door, open the door. And all of a sudden, everybody was chanting, open the door. And then some people were banging on the doors. And you all may have seen the video. But, after that, there were many people who, once they did, in fact, open the doors, because they did, and people were able to go in and vote for another half hour, there were people who came out and they said, you all being here, that bus being here, it gave us the courage to make sure that we were able to get inside and cast our votes. That's the kind of impact that we want to have on the communities that we go to. It's not just the process of getting registered and the mechanics of knowing the polling places. It's about having a certain kind of mindset that makes us all believe we have power. We have power to win things. We have power to have our issues dealt with. And we even have powers to force them to open the doors, even when they literally tried to close the door in our faces.
Yeah, I think I sensed that yesterday, and this is another story that we have on What You Need to Know newsletter today, and talking about the president-elect was down in Georgia with the Democratic candidates for the United States Senate, Reverend Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff. And it seemed, though, because having done the drive-ins with you, Cliff, as well as have been to some here in Texas this season in the age of coronavirus, but it's felt like the power that people feel now in this race, in these two races, I should say. It almost sounded like they were, extending their power through their car horns, if you will, or that kind of thing. It was quite buoyant. It was almost a party atmosphere in some respects.
Yeah, there's a saying in like sports, football, basketball, but with any just about any sport, when you got a team that has been underdogs, right, and they're in a tough competition against a team that has traditionally won, and they talk about if you let them hang around, or once they get a taste of that victory, then they're dangerous, right? That's Black folks right now in Georgia. Like, we got a taste of victory in this state, flipping this state after literally decades of not having our voices really feel like they mattered, right? And Black folks now, there was a ridiculous stat that I think I heard Stacey Abrams gave: the number of people who voted on that first day of early vote, or who have requested their vote by mail ballots, who did not vote in the general election. There is a whole new crop of people who in the general election may have felt left out, may have felt like there wasn't a chance to flip the state, whatever the reason was, but there was a whole crop of people who did not vote in that November election who are now voting. That's the power of the momentum that we have going right now. That's the power of Black folks who now feel like they can really impact the state. I really think that we are going to shock the country once again. I've said this to a couple of reporters, and one of them almost laughed. Right, he thought I was just being funny. But I've said to a couple of reporters, not only do I think that we're going to have high turnout, and not only do I believe we can actually exceed the turnout that we had in the general election. I believe that. And I've told that to some reporters, and they've been so skeptical. And it goes against traditional wisdom. It goes against what you usually see. But I hear me, Sybil, when I say
today we're hearing you.
That's right. That don't be surprised if we wake up on January 6th and Black turnout was actually higher in this runoff election in January. In the cold. and it exceeds what we saw in November. Remember, you heard it from me right here.
On what you need to know. And Myra,
That's
people went in
right.
the rain to vote. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
That's right.
it wasn't even rain. I don't have a problem with getting my hair wet. I'm embarrassed to say Chicago, but you get below 55 to me here, it's cold. It's cold
Yeah.
outside. It's a 2-hour line. Now, mind you all, if I had to, I would stand out there. I'd be dressed up in a thermal blanket and everything else, and I would have stood there. But I checked the weather for the next couple of days. I can make it from here to the absentee box. Okay?
Stephen Hill, we talked about music and stuff, and you are the College of Musical Knowledge. And I don't know if Cliff needs any help with a playlist or anything, but if you got some songs going through your head, I'm telling you, we had a lot of "Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud," which is really the anthem, if you will, and a lot of This Christmas, Donny Hathaway's This Christmas, and now that they are in the midst of the 12 Days of Christmas, if you have maybe a Michael Jackson or a Jackson 5 song or something, but
another James Brown song is actually my favorite. I don't want nobody to give me nothing. Open the door, I get it myself.
Come on now.
That's the James Brown song I want to hear when I'm talking about voting, because especially I've been mired. Literally today is the day I watched. I don't know if you watched the All In, the Fight for Democracy. It's some people call it the Stacey Abrams doc. But it was
Stacey Abrams doc would be a whole shoot
It's a different
thing.
one. It's a very different thing.
Very different. Yeah.
Very different one. Starring Morris Day. But no. It's I gotta say, directed by Liz Garbus and my good friend Lisa Cortez.
Nice.
About voter suppression, and it really is about. I don't want nobody to give me. Let's just open up the door so I can cast my vote. Open it up fairly. Open it up
Stephen Hill, we're losing.
So I can cast.
Okay.
I'm sorry. So I can cast my vote. Sorry about that.
Yeah. And so you watched that today?
Yes. I don't know if it's been out. I think since on Amazon Prime since maybe September. But I was reminded. A tickler reminded me today, so I watched it today, and it's.
Oh, nice.
It's stunning how people have tried to suppress the vote for so long in such nefarious ways, and the attempt still goes on.
Yeah. I don't know when the documentary is going to come out, Cliff, but the documentary on Black Voters Matter is going to be awesome. I just think there's a great group of people that are out there doing that as well. And I can't wait. So I hope you'll come back and let us know about that as well.
Definitely. We would love to. We're excited to see what it looks like. It might be a while before we get to see the finished product. In part because it feels like this election cycle may never end.
Right.
But yeah, we're really looking forward to it. It's an incredible documentary team that's been traveling around with us on the bus, in our homes. And so, it's been a really interesting experience.
And speaking of that, and talking about the things that are going on around us in your homes and as they are documenting all of this, and you all are going through this process through the states and now concentrated in the state of Georgia during the coronavirus. And just want to ask you, because we asked Latasha the other day and asking people as they're coming on. I had the DC gang on yesterday with Dominique and Huggy Lowdown and Chris Paul. So now people have started taking the virus. Of course, frontline medical workers are the first there, and some of the older people in the homes that they are taking as well. And I just want to know what you all are thinking. Have your thoughts changed about taking the vaccine? And Cliff, we can start with you.
Well, just the first thought that I have is, the vaccine is out. The first deliveries went out the other day, and surprise, surprise, the first person to take it is a Black woman, right? And so, right. in the tradition of Henrietta Lacks and all the other, Black girl magic that we've seen, being highlighted this year and over the past couple of years, I thought that was incredibly fitting, right? But it's a real. So the short answer is yes. I plan on taking it. I don't want to be first, but I certainly plan on taking it at some point. And we've really been. We've been blessed as an organization. We went virtual actually early on in the process. I think we first went virtual March 1st, like when the first cases of coronavirus came out, we were quick to basically tell our staff, no, we're not coming into the office. Our field staff in the other states were already pretty much virtual, but we've got a central team here in Atlanta that we said, look, we don't want to take any chances. And even before the governor or anybody else required it, we told folks, stay at home, let's be safe, and all of that. And we've just been blessed. As we started doing the bus tours back in September, because as we got close to the general, we said, look, we haven't traveled all year. We didn't do any bus tours all year, but we just got to a point where we said, democracy is at risk. Our communities are at risk. We've got to get back out on the road. And so we put in some COVID protocols and we've been really safe, but we also been very blessed. And actually, Latasha at one point, speaking of Kentucky, actually had it at the time that we were in Louisville for that election that I was just talking about. And I was sitting on the bus with her the whole time that she had it. And somehow I came off, without getting it. Because we do, even being on the bus, we wear our mask and we try to stay distant and we try to limit the number of people. So, having a vaccine now will certainly at some point, it's going to take a while before it gets to everybody, right? It's not going to be tomorrow, but, certainly by the spring or summer, we're hoping that, it's really taking effect and lets us get back to doing the things that we do, a little bit closer. Even tonight, around all of our friends and partners here, we see people that we haven't seen in months, and you've seen us, right, Sybil? It's just a feeling of love, and everybody wants to hug, and we're giving these little COVID hugs that just aren't the same, right? So we want to get back to being able to do what we do, but always, I don't think we'll ever return to normal, right? I think people from now on look at shaking hands differently than we have before, and some of our other practices. But certainly, it's good that there's a vaccine out. Certainly, looking forward to it being available to our communities that have been decimated by this virus, right? That have been disproportionately impacted, and we want to see. Speaking of policy, that as we're talking about this COVID relief bill that they're debating, as we're talking about policies moving forward, that there's a recognition that Black communities and our brothers and sisters in the indigenous communities, I don't want to leave them out. We've been disproportionately impacted. They have been decimated as well on our Native American reservations and nations. And those who have been most impacted by this virus need to be those that get some very targeted responses and targeted resources, including relief for families and SNAP and business relief. We didn't get that, all of that. We didn't get that with those first packages. We're expecting from this administration and from this new wave of relief that Black communities are rewarded and restored in a way that matches the ways that we've been impacted by the virus itself.
Yeah, Myra, Stephen Hill and I have talked about this on our podcast and things. What about you? Are you going to step up and get in line for the vaccine?
Heck yeah, I'm taking the vaccine. I've already told you, I'm taking the vaccine. But just like I ain't gonna be the first. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna get in the white folks line. I got my line.
That's right.
Very, very fixed. Love my people, but I'm like, if I see all Black people in the line, I'm like, now we need to switch this up. Some of y'all go over there. I need some of y'all over there. Come over here. Because
hilarious.
Just making sure. But I'll take the vaccine. I'll take it in the pill. If they mix it in some tequila, I'm going to take it like that. Because I'm travel. I want some hugs. Now, look, 3 years from now, if I grow a third arm out the top of my head, I'm just going to twirl it around like a helicopter and say, hey, it was a helicopter because I traveled and I party. But I'm not going to sit in the house for the next 3 years. And I trust me, Black people, you don't have to hit me up. I understand. Nope. I'm not taking it. You don't know what's in the hell. You don't know what's in the damn hot dog. You eat that. So, swallowing chitlins by the pot full, but go sit up here and argue with me about the vaccine. It's a personal choice. Don't take it. But I am taking it. I took a flu shot for the first time last year because I was like, you know, I'm starting to get older in age, and the bounce back ain't the way it used to be. And I took the flu shot. I did not get the flu. I didn't get sick or anything. So this year, I took the flu shot. Do I know what's in the flu shot? Heck no, I don't know what's in the flu shot. So.
And every year it's different. Whatever flu, you know, that they're trying to alleviate, you know, that it's a different makeup every year. So you're right.
I feel like this. These are my golden years, and I'm living my life like it's golden. I'm
Come on.
not to sit back because, oh no, well, this might happen. Look, I'm going out kicking, screaming, laughing, flying to exotic places and having myself a good ass time. So can't wait for my number to be called. I'm like, when do my group go up?
So Stephen Hill, we talked about this on the podcast, and you're like, look, I will take it for you know, for this and that and the other thing. And now
the great thing is, I've actually already gotten the vaccine.
You did not.
I did indeed get the vaccine. I did indeed get the vaccine. Now I didn't want to wait to get through the normal process, and since I live in a city that has ready access to pharmaceutical goods, I went to Pookie because oddly enough, the crazy thing is it like Pookie on the corner like it had the steam, right? So I was like, oh, you got the steam, and so. Like I've heard, so I've heard you have to get in. Are you supposed to get injected?
Yeah.
Okay, he took like an eyedropper and dropped some solution on the Tums. He like dropped on the Tums, and then said, oh, try this. And I said, that's great. That'll be $500. I said, well, I'm coming back for the second dose. He said, no, you pay all up front, and then and I'll give you a second dose later. The weird thing is he didn't show up for the second dose. I was like surprised. Like I was waiting.
Is that weird? Yeah.
So I'm vaccinated. I'm going out. I'm flying. I'm going to concerts when they come back. I'm good. I'm vaccinated. Although something seems wrong about that. I don't know what it is, but we'll figure it out.
Did you have any after effects? Anything that made you feel a little stranger?
My stomach felt really good. My stomach felt really good after that.
Okay.
After they put the eye drop on the tongue,
he was
it was great.
Peeing in his apartment when he came on the show.
So Cliff, please excuse our friend Stephen Hill and his he too has had coronavirus. No, seriously, he has had it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, he's been taking all the precautions and necessary. But now that you have been, perhaps you'll tell your story on a larger screen and about having taken the vaccine.
Most people laugh at me when I say it, but I think
really,
I don't know why.
Yeah,
I got over it. I didn't have to get a shot either, so it's cool.
So I already know if anybody comes up, you're going.
So, and you were talking about Henrietta Lacks, and a Black woman who took the vaccine. The first American to take the vaccine was this nurse, Sandra Lindsay, Cliff, and also talking about the people who were involved in the process. One of the leading researchers in immunology is a Black woman who is a researcher. Her name is Dr. Kizzmekia Corbett. And so she was instrumental in that, and said she was not going to be a hidden figure in this. She was going to let people know the part that she played in it, and because she wanted to encourage people to understand the seriousness and how they could trust her on this, and having known our history with the syphilis and Tuskegee experiment and what have you. And also another person that played a part in the permission for this to happen from the FDA is the president and CEO of Meharry Medical College, and Dr. James Hildreth. And he was a part of that panel. I think it was 14 to 5 or something like that. He voted in the affirmative to pass on as a recommendation to the FDA. And that happened pretty quickly. And then the FDA came along and said, yes, we will go with this. So Black folks are, and he too was as a Black man, understand as a medical official, he understood about the Tuskegee experiment and what have you. And
Right.
everybody seemed to do that. And all these people said, they trusted the science and were willing to, and wanted people, Black folks especially. The only concern he said he wished that more Black people had participated in the trials. And that's something that we're going to have to keep working on. Right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a catch-22, right? It's like, we know that history. We know the history of the Tuskegee experiment and many other, medical situations where we've been taken advantage of, made sick, et cetera. And so, it's like you have to honor that and be aware of that. But then if we don't participate, then it also creates this other side of it, which is you've got vaccines that are being developed that if we haven't been included, then we don't know how it might interact with our biology that might be a little bit different, right? We've got certain traits, whether it's sickle cell or whatever, there are certain pieces of, environment or whatever that make some of these vaccines, medicines, whatever, can have a different impact. And if we're not included in that, it's the same thing as if you only test certain medicines on men and not on women, and you don't really get the same. So so it's kind of this difficult situation of being aware of the history, but then not creating a vicious cycle where there continues to be these remedies and vaccines that just aren't a good fit for us. Because to Myra's point, we really don't know what the long-term impacts of all this is. We know that we need a fast vaccine. We know that we need it tested and all that. But there is absolutely no way at this point to know what the 3-year, 4-year, 5-year, let alone 10-year implications of all this could possibly be. And so all that is on Black folks' minds, and rightfully so. But again, we're being...
When it comes to the use of this vaccine, I'm encouraged because there's far more African American involvement in the development, and far more African Americans involved as doctors than there were back in Tuskegee, back in Interrelax. So that gives that there is a Dr. Kizzy.
Right.
Gives me great comfort that there is, and Dr. Fauci, I know what helped bring Dr. Kizzy to the forefront, and that was I thought was a brilliant move because. There are more doctors. There are more doctors developing and part of the administration than before. So take the vaccine.
Before we go, and we're going to play a little video, but Cliff, I want to give you an opportunity. Do you have your finished work of the 12 days of Christmas?
I don't have all 12 days. But I've got the first 5. I'm doing it day by day. Right?
Gotcha.
So today, because we gave out 500 toys on the 5th day of Christmas, which would usually be 5 golden rings, right? Today we've got 500 toys, right?
Wow.
And then I do have the other 4 days that I've been doing day by day. In fact, we posted it on our Twitter and IG. The first 4 days are on there, so I'm not gonna do it right now. Live right here with you, but if y'all check it out, we do have those first 4 days, and now we've got the 5th day that we're going to add in, and we're actually going to do a contest. We might call it the 12 Days of Christmas contest, where we ask folks to send us your lines. Like, we've got our lines, we've got 500 toys, we've got Columbus Caravan, right? We've got Augusta early vote or Augusta voting party. So we've got our days for the first 4 or 5 days, but we're going to be doing a contest asking folks, send in what you think, what your line would be for your version of 12 Days of Christmas for just one of those days. And we might take the best of, and we might put together like a compilation video showing all these different people from different parts of the country or different parts of Georgia. So yeah, we're trying to have some fun with it, even as we build power, because as we always say, it's a party with a purpose.
That's right. Cliff, thanks so much for your hospitality and for allowing me to tag along. And I really did enjoy it. And I would like to get back out there with you guys before this all comes to an end on January 5th. And please give my thanks to everybody who made me feel so welcome and as we hit them streets, as Latasha likes to say.
Right.
So it was great. Myra J and Stephen Hill, thank you so much. And Cliff, how can people find it? And just go to Black Matters at Twitter as well as Instagram.
Yep, Twitter, IG, Facebook, they're all the same. Black Voters MTR, Black Voters MTR. You can check me out on Twitter. It's Cliff_Notes. Cliff Notes. And on IG, which I'm building out every day. IG is Cliff Albright. And speaking of which, I'm be doing an IG takeover with Questlove tomorrow. We'll be doing an interview. Yeah, so I'm excited about that. So I might have to test out my lyrics with him.
Don't get slapped like he slapped them people on SNL this past week. Now he slapped them 2 deals on SNL like they stole something. So be careful, very careful.
Be careful. Right. All right, you guys. We're gonna close it out. Cliff will look for you on IG with Questlove tomorrow, and I think Latasha is taking over Demi Lovato's IG on Friday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, she is. That's right.
That's really cool.
Yep.
That's really cool. All right, you guys. Thanks so much, Stephen Hills. Sunglasses and Soul.
Sunglasses Soul tomorrow night, and then Sirius XM. It's my holiday show. Channel 48, Heart and Soul, Sirius XM on Saturday at 11 p.m. Eastern.
Nice. Myra J, get out there and vote.
Still in the kitchen, but I'm gonna vote.
Thanks, you guys. Thanks so much. Tomorrow's Thursday. George Wallace will be with us. And don't leave us before you watch this. Have a good night, everybody.
Who needs a little love today? Who needs some love sent their way? Who needs love? Who needs love? Who needs a little love today? Who needs some love sent their way? Who needs love? Who needs love?
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one. Thanks, Cliff. Be safe out on them streets.
Thank you.